Hey y'all, so I didn't think I'd be making a video about this, but this is something that just came up, and I've seen so many other people make videos about like Master Duels dying and stuff like that. And while I agree, I'm here more to talk about what we can do to sort of change and like prevent this from happening, as well as disagree with some of the other videos I've seen about why they think it's dying and failing and whatever. So, firstly, number one, I think all those creators and like people you see who are stating this game is dying and stating specifically that Malice is the reason are incorrect. I don't think Malice is as ignorant as Raziel Mitsuguri. I think Raziel Mitsuguri is the most ignorant deck I've ever fucking played against. Because the thing is, it all comes down to like deck power and like skill level and stuff like that. I've beaten Malice plenty of times going second with unoptimal hands with, at best, a rogue deck. So decks like Resonator, it's deck like Dinos, deck like Dinomorphia, decks like Lab, stuff like that. Stuff that's not top tier. And even decks I'm not really good with. Like I've beaten Malice with Branded, and I don't know how to play Branded. Now you could argue those people just don't know how to play Malice or whatever, but I've never won against Raziel Mitsu against people who I know who are just pressing the yellow glow to press the yellow glow. I've lost to the worst players imaginable who've played Raziel Mitsu just because it's Raziel Mitsuguri. And I think if it's gotten to a point where you can just win by playing a certain deck, kind of like tier versus anything that wasn't full power tier, I think that's a bad indication. Like, I don't think a deck should be as strong as you can just press yes to everything, play incorrectly, and still win because the deck is just that strong. I know a lot of people say that Malice is like really strong and like Appo is part of it and it got so much value from doing things, but the fact is, I think people just hate Malice because it has Cybers attached to it. Like, if Malice didn't have Cybers attached to it, imagine if Malice was, I don't know what would fit them, like maybe Fairy or something. If it said Fairy on there instead, I feel like a lot of people would not hate them. But because it says Cybers, I think a lot of people just see that and they're like, ugh, fucking disgusting. And then they'll go play Fiendsmith slop and fucking whatever other 19 engines they cram to a deck, and then they're like, oh, this is fine though. I love playing my Kashtira, Fiendsmith, Raziel, Mitsuguri tier deck. It's like, bro, you're just like, shut up, you don't have an opinion. I hate those kinds of people. And I'm sorry, if you enjoy Kashtira, if you think Fiendsmith is fine, if you like tier, you just have irrelevant opinions. I get like tier is a lot of people's favorite format because it was tier 0 and it was very like interactive on both sides, and it was like very game knowledge dependent format, but I prefer more formats that have variety of decks to play versus you need to play this deck or you're just gonna lose. I think that's less fun overall. Now, to the main point of why I started recording this video is that For some reason, I assume it's because the Morganite cards have been released in full in Master Duel. I've been running into non-stop fucking stun players. And, like, let me tell you, the stun has to be the most consistent fucking deck I've ever seen. Because I've run into maybe 9 to 12 different stun players using Morganite cards, and every single one of them have opened the exact same fucking hand. I almost felt like I was going against Tenpai with how cracked everybody's hand was. They always open every goddamn copy of Morganites, so they'll have Time Tearing, they'll have... I don't know all the names of the Morganite cards, let me be real with you. I just looked it up. They'll open Time Tearing, they'll open Succumbing, they'll open Guilt, and then they'll open Vanity's Ruler, or whatever the fuck the card's name. Not Ruler, whatever. The other one. The SR one. Vanity's Fiend or something. Yeah, Vanity's Fiend. And it's just like... when did this become a thing? Like, why are we buffing stuff? Like, I get it. Eventually, you'll have to make cards to do stuff like that. But why are these all at 3? We can all agree nobody enjoys playing against stun. And if you play stun, you don't have an opinion. You're not a person. That was half a joke. But... we all know how people feel about stun players. Nobody likes going against it. Nobody likes playing against them. Nobody likes playing it. Yada yada. Not gonna harp on that for too long. But why don't we ban these cards? Because, like, in the TCG, they just had that really popular ban list, which banned, like, I think it was like every barrier statue except for, I think, wind or something. Or water, one of those two. And they got rid of a lot of, like, stun cards. And, like, yeah, you could use the argument, stun slows the game down and, like, makes it so you can't just fucking summon your entire extra deck in a turn or whatever. And yeah, that's cool, but, like, I feel like that's the point of Yu-Gi-Oh, isn't it? Yu-Gi-Oh is known as, like, the batshit crazy card game. It's the one where you can do, because everything's free. There's no cost in Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh is just like the Wild West. So I don't know why we're not embracing. Like, I get it. There's like toxic shit you can do, but they've more so gotten rid of the toxic shit you can do. Like, they banned Hot King Calamity, which I'll admit I used that occasionally. I used it because I thought it was funny. But there were ways around that. Like, you could stop it. You could miss timing with that very easily. You could... it wasn't like the end-all be-all. There was still ways... Like, when I tried to use that, I got stopped very frequently. I think I only ever pulled it off, like, twice. So it wasn't like it was you brought it out and it was just like a guaranteed win. It really wasn't. And I don't know, it's just like, how do we fix this? I think we fix this by, one, we ban Fossil Dyna, because that should not be limited. We limit every single Morganite card. We ban Kashtira forever, because fuck that deck. That 1 month or whatever, when Kashtira first came out, was probably the most unfun time I've ever had in this game. I know a lot of people were like, oh, what about now? No, like, I still would rather play this than fucking go against Kashtira every goddamn time. Kashtira is probably my least favorite. Like, if I had to do a top 5 least favorite decks to go against, Kashtira is easily top 3. Fucking hate Kashtira. It's just so annoying. What else? And I think this isn't really like a Master Duel problem. It's more of a Konami problem. I think we just stop making cards that do fucking 8,000 things. Because, like, the problem with Mitsurugi is that the effects on it aren't the same as, like, Lab, for example. Lab, I think, is very good. I know a lot of people don't like Lab, but I think Lab is a very good example of, like, card design that works, because imagine if Big Welcome, you could use both of those effects in the same turn. I think people would hate Lab even more. But for those of you who don't know, it's you either summon a fiend from your deck, or you banish the trap from your graveyard and you bounce the card back. And it specifically says you can only use one of the effects, and only once per turn. So that's a very important key phrase, is you can only use one effect per turn, and only once that turn. That means once you commit to one of those things, that's it. If it fails, you can't do anything else with that fucking card. The problem with Mitsuguri is that the fucking every single card of theirs, same with like Raizeo and all that shit, every single fucking card of theirs is like, oh, you can use effect 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 once per turn. And it's like, okay, like, but why? Why are we printing cards that have 14 fucking effects on them and they can all recurs and do something else? Like, when did we start moving from card design that was, you chose one effect, you did that? Like, I think another example is Stratos. Stratos was either a Rota or it was a MST. Well, not really, but like you get the idea of what I mean. And if you don't know what Stratos does, you summon it on summon. It either searches an elemental hero from your deck to your hand or whatever, and the other option is if you have other elemental heroes on the field, you can pop back row up to the amount of other elemental heroes on the field. You couldn't do both. You either did one or the other, or you didn't activate the effect. Cards nowadays, you summon a card, and instead of it being, oh, this effect or this effect, it's like, oh, you can use 17 effects, but only once per turn. It's like, brother, I don't care if it's once per turn. If I'm activating 17 effects and gaining 3 million fucking advantages, it doesn't matter. Because, like, one of the main problems is going second in Yu-Gi-Oh!, correct? So, why are we buffing all these cards? Like, because obviously if it's good for going second, it'll obviously be good for going first, outside of, like, stuff like Lightning Storm. And, like, Regeki and Board Breakers and, like, Dark Ruler No More and shit like that. But it's like, in a situation like Mitsuguri, it's like, what the fuck are we doing, man? Like, how did we fail this card design? And, like, that's assuming that people at Konami have, like brains and more than, like, 3 IQ and can't tell that this will be a problem. I think if they just put in people to, like, test these decks and, like, actually, you know, had people there who understood and, like, played the game, versus just, like, hey, let's just slap 18 effects on this card and then ship it, because that looks fine. Hey, should we include restrictions? Nah. Hey, should we include hard locks? Nah. Hey, should we include any sort of fucking, like, lock whatsoever, or any limitation? Nah. Like, I don't understand how they think that was gonna be okay. Like somebody had to sit there and look at all the tier limit cards, and they had to be like, yeah, that seems fine, ship it out, and let's have them all at 3. Like, what? Like, I get you have to, like, make new products and sell, but, like, you don't have to. I feel like the problem at Konami is that they think they have to top whatever they did last. It's like, that's not, you don't have to do that. You could just make it equal to what you did last, or around the same level, but you don't have to sit there and be like, Okay, so this was the most broken deck we've ever had in tier limits. All right, the next deck, let's try to break that and then be stronger than tier limits. It's like, no, that's a completely wrong mindset to have. And you would think they would know this because I think, what is it, Goat and like Edison and Time Wizard, all those formats are really popular. I think they're more popular than like current Yu-Gi-Oh! It is currently, just because nobody likes playing it. But yeah, like, I don't know. I know I said in the beginning of this, like, I'd try to offer solutions, but, like, solutions only work if pieces fall into place. Like, if they start suddenly hiring people at Konami who have more than, like, 3 brain cells and actually play the game and understand what people's frustrations are with it and stuff. Because, like, at this point, I don't like the, like, whole hand trap meta thing. Like, I get it, it's needed because obviously you can do so much. But, like, even then, like, even if you play a bunch of hand traps, chances are, because every card is now a 1-card combo that can come into recursion and, like, advantage, it really doesn't fucking matter. Like, before, one Ash Blossom was able... I think Resonators is a really good example of this. So, say in Resonators, for those of you who don't know, you play, like... let's see. You summon... Where's my deck? Okay. You summon Soul Resonator. Let's say you have Soul Resonator and, like, 4 other cards in your hand that don't do anything. If you get ashed on Soul Resonator, your turn is over. Which, like, some people might think that's a terrible... But it's not. It's completely fine. This is the kind of pace of, like, what Yu-Gi-Oh! Should aim to be, I feel. It shouldn't be like, normal summon this, it gets stopped, then from my hand, I'm able to summon this guy, this guy, this guy, exceeds into 14 other guys, draw 8 cards, set up a board that has infinite negates, and then by the end of my turn, still have like 4 cards in hand. That to me is dog shit design. Like, I don't know. I think decks like Resonator, where like there's obvious 1-card combos and 1 starters and obvious choke points to the deck, that's where we should get back to. Once fucking Fiendsmith came out and, like, you could do, like, 18 different things and, like, recur stuff and, like, banish stuff and then put stuff from banish back in and, like, not saying that Fiendsmith does that. I know that if you, like, I think it's, if you bestial, what is it, Engraver, that usually fucks over the play or whatever, but I think Yubel is a good example of the 1-card, stoppage as well, because with Yubel, pretty much if you stop Samsara D Lotus, I think the turn is over. At least in my experience, that was the experience I had. Was anytime I summoned Samsara D Lotus and then tried to do anything with it, it would pretty much end my turn if they stopped it. I think that's better than whatever the fuck's current Yu-Gi-Oh! Is, where it's... And, like, granted, I enjoy Malice, right? But I get it. That, like, you can stop Dormouse or whatever, but they can still play into... Like, if they have enough gas in their hand, it's fine. But, like, in the same breath, now that Apple is gone, and even before Apple, like, depending on how good the Malice player was, you were pretty much screwed whenever Nibiru happened. Like, yeah, you could turn it into Link Spider or whatever, but some decks didn't play Link Spider depending on what they're running in their extra deck. And I'm not sitting here just trying to be like, oh, it's not like Malice is like not as bad. Like, I get it, you know. I'm just acknowledging the people who dislike Malice. But that being said, I think all the design of cards has just gone downhill. Because now it's like, there was that one card that got announced. It's like a Dark Magician Hero card or whatever. It's like a Dark Magician Girl art, chibi style, but it's a hero card. And apparently that card is like a 1-card combo, and you can end on like, what is it? Dark Claw, Phoenix Enforcer, like a Neos card, and like something else. And I'm like, that's absurd. Like, they need to stop doing shit like this. Oh, I think another card. I think another deck that comes to mind that is good and like, I think fair. And I know some people might disagree because of Misk, but I think Dinos is a healthy deck because if you're able to stop I think it's Overraptor is like the main starter, then their turn kind of just ends. And they also, like, whenever I play Dinos as a deck, I always draw like the worst hand imaginable. Like, my hand usually always consists of, you play one Frostosaurus for Meteorus. I always open Frostosaurus, Giant Rex, like an Imperm, and then if I include Psyframe Gamma, I always open up Driver instead, and then I'll have like an Ash going first, and I'm like, oh cool, like I can't do anything with the hand, it's fine. And then like I'll scoop, and then I'll go next game, and it's basically the exact same hand with like a UCT, and I'm like, oh cool, I can't do anything with this either. So it's like, this deck is not the most consistent, which is good. I feel like when we started moving towards how many engines you can fit into one deck that don't lock you out of other engines, or like lock you out of other attributes or types or whatever, that's when Yu-Gi-Oh started going downhill for a lot of people, because it's like, oh, you stop their one thing, but then they have 3 other engines that they can use that don't interfere with the other stuff, and they don't get locked out of, and then it just becomes a resource battle, and it's very annoying. But yeah, I know a lot of people are gonna be like, well, what about Max C? Well, we just need to accept the fact that they're never gonna ban Max C in this game. I don't know why, but the fact that you can also run Max C with Molcharmies and Fuvalos and what the fuck are the other one? I forget what the other ones are called. There's Meows, Perulia, all that other shit. And I don't know, man, like, if you're gonna add all these other cards that let you draw, at least limit them. Like, it wouldn't be bad if they were all at one. Like, you can, I don't know. I don't think there's a way to make everybody happy, because there are people who are like, Max C needs to get banned, and then there are other people who are like, it keeps people in check, and like this and that, and yeah, you could argue that so do the Molcharmies, but it's the combination, I think, that pisses a lot of people off, is that you can get Fuvalos twice, technically, and then Max Seed, and then you just like can't do anything. Well, I mean, in that situation, you could end your turn because they'd be down 3, but then they just play 1 card. It's a 1-card starter. If you don't have anything, then you're fucked. But yeah, I don't know. That's I don't really know if I addressed, or like, I know I set out with like a goal in mind with this video, but it kind of just turned into me like yapping. But yeah, I don't know, like, maybe they should, because I know with Genesis they have like the whole point system, but maybe they should start implementing actual rules, like if you run one maxi or something, you can't run like these cards or whatever. If you run Ash Blossom, you can't run these cards. But like limited, you know how there's that limitation on like, I think the most prime example I can think of is Harpy Ladies, and how it says if this, or how it says that at the bottom this card is always treated as Harpy Lady, so you can't technically put in Harpy Lady Sister 1, 2, and 3 and have 3 copies of each. That's alongside with like Cyber Harpy and regular Harpy Lady, because you would technically own like, I think it's like 15 versions of that card. Do something like that for these cards. Like, make it so these are all treated as the same thing. So like right now, I know it doesn't fix the problem, but in the situations where like you get Mocharming and Perulian and whatever, like you get hit with like 18 of these fucking cards, limit Maxi to 1, and then also make it so they can't run more than, I don't know, that's like a, now the more I'm talking about it, the more it falls apart, but like do something along the lines of that, like where you can't. Same with Albaz. Like, I don't like Branded as a deck. I don't know what it is. I think it's just very annoying to play against. Not annoying, but I think it's just very boring to play against. But any card that says Fallen of Albaz on it, it should just be treated as Fallen of Albaz, so then you can't, like, do that with every Fallen of Albaz card. So you have Fallen of Albaz, and then, like, for example, Blazing Cartesia that says Fallen of Albaz on it, at the bottom just say, this card is counted as Fallen of Albaz. So now you can only play 3 of them. So I'm aware it completely destroys the deck, but good. Fuck Branded. I don't like Branded. You should have stopped playing Branded in like 2018. Oh no, Branded players will have to learn something else. That's crazy, but yeah, I'm gonna end the video here just because I don't want to keep yapping and not really offering anything more, but yeah, those are just my thoughts on like what the fuck is happening with Yu-Gi-Oh! And like what they could do to try to change or whatever. But if that made sense to anybody, cool. If you listened to this whole thing, cool. And I don't know. Look, if you're a dick in the comments, I'm just gonna be a dick right back, and if you get offended, then that's your fault. But yeah, alright, see ya, bye.